I wanted to do a video about the proper way to lose weight and the proper way to think about what it is you need to do to lose weight. Because we've been doing it wrong our whole lives. You've been doing it wrong your whole life. The average person, when they want to lose weight, they will look for the diet that accomplishes that somebody else used. They learn about somebody on the internet or a news report. So you look for, well, what can I eat to lose weight? And you go on it with your fingers crossed, with hope and a prayer, not understanding how it will work if it works. And even with some level of success, if you grit your teeth and bear through it, you end up losing some pounds, 5, 10, 15, 20, even a little more. Then what? Then you go back to your regular lifestyle and cross your fingers that the weight won't come back. And of course it comes back because you go back to eating what you ate before, living the lifestyle that you lived before. And your body's doing exactly what it should be doing with the lifestyle and food choices that you are making. A temporary diet doesn't fix anything. And in most cases, it makes things slightly worse before it rebalances back to that long-term lifestyle that you've set up for yourself. And that's not even fair, because a lot of these lifestyle choices aren't really your fault. Food manufacturers do not have warning labels on their food. And there should be warnings. Warnings should go something like this. This food product is devoid of protein and protein levels and any amount of nutrition that would normally be found in whole, real food. This food product has been engineered to make you unsatiated and actually crave to continue eating this product without an off switch. This food product is highly addictive. This food product can cause diabetes. This food product can cause osteopenia, sarcopenia, because of the lack of protein. On and on and on. This food product can and will cause weight gain if eaten in conjunction with other similar foodstuffs. There are no warning labels on packaging like this, and there should be. It should be mandated. So I've probably given you the answer to what the problem is. But stop looking for that magic diet and program that will help you lose weight. There's no program. What there is the human body's evolutionary way of eating, with our system set up to deal with certain types of food and knowing nothing about how to deal with other types of man-made junk. So you must learn what your body is designed to eat on. It's no different than buying a gasoline car and then man suddenly making diesel and thinking that you can power that engine with diesel and expect it to run right. It just will not happen. Okay? Our bodies were definitely designed for that. Every other animal on the planet has a species-specific diet, yet somehow we as humans think that if we've manipulated ingredients on this planet to make our own concoctions, that somehow it's still safe. Okay? You go to a zoo, signs everywhere that says, please do not feed the animals. They will become extremely sick. All right? I wish every human being had their own shirt that said the same thing. Do not feed us this crap. We will become extremely sick, and that's exactly what happens. And it's even more insidious than that because of the damage it does to your body. It resets base levels of hormones that wreak havoc in your body when set at extremes, when they're set at hyper levels. The first and most powerful one that prominently comes to mind is insulin. You develop what's called hyperinsulinemia, where there's always a constantly elevated level of insulin in your body. That's extremely destructive to your body. At the right levels, The right physiological levels and at the right response levels to the right food, the body does just fine. But when you have a constant high level of insulin in your body, it causes all kinds of problems. Elevated blood pressure, gaps in your endothelial cells, allowing glycated, small, dense lipid particles, LDL particles, to get in. Now, LDL is not a bad character, but you oversaturate your circulating LDL with glucose, and it starts to damage it, making it unrecognized by the liver where it can't get picked up. So it does a lot more laps in your bloodstream, dropping off even more and more of its payload till finally it's extremely small and dense. And the fissures caused between your endothelial cells, you can actually end up with these particles lodging in the endothelial, behind the endothelial, into the artery wall, which starts a cascade as more and more of those particles build up. Macrophages get brought into the equation, start eating up those foreign bodies as they should. You don't turn the faucet off from those glycated LDL particles. They end up turning into foam cells, which causes the zit-like object on your artery walls, which can rupture, and then clotting factors come into play, and you end up with a heart attack from a closure, partial or full closure of that blood vessel. It's a symptom of unhealthy processes going on in the human body. So learn from it. Know that your body is hyperinsulinemic. You're overstoring fat, and it's not because of how much you're eating. It's because of what you're eating. Learn that. Learn that you need to eat for your insulin. Learn the foods that lower your insulin. Well, to first learn what lowers your insulin, you have to learn what raises your insulin. There's 3 basic macros. We'll leave alcohol for another topic, but there's 3 basic macros. Oh, don't get me wrong, alcohol is a very important topic when it comes to metabolic health and weight gain. But let's talk about the 3 main macros that most people deal with every day. Actually, all of us deal with every day. You have fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Okay. 2 of those macros are 100% indisputably necessary for human survival, human health and survival. You can survive certain lengths of time by eliminating, most of, one or all of these, but you can't survive long term. The 2 required macronutrients in the human diet are fats and proteins. Let me say that again. The only 2 required for optimal health are fats and proteins. There is no requirement for carbohydrates in the human diet at all. The body makes all the glucose it needs. Well, your brain likes glucose. Your brain, other cells are glucose dependent. Well, that's true. There are some cells that are glucose dependent. Red blood cells have to have glucose. The brain, contrary to the majority opinion, can run just as fine on ketones. We've been doing it for millennia. But even with that argument, if glucose is required, you realize your body makes several hundred grams of its own glucose every single day. And it does that through the utilization of the fat stores in your body. Fat is stored. You've heard the word triglycerides, right? That's how fat is stored. Fat is stored as triglycerides. That's what your fat's made out of. So triglycerides are, from the word 3 fatty acid molecules with 1 glycerol backbone. Glycerol, glycogen, glycation. Glycerol is the glucose. So when fat is pulled out of storage, triglycerides are pulled out of storage, the 3 fatty acids are cleaved off of the glycerol backbone. The glycerol backbone goes to the liver and is converted to glucose. There's your glucose. So the easy exchange in and out of fat cells of triglycerides gives the body all the glucose it needs. We make our own glucose. Never forget that. You do not need to eat any. In fact, you shouldn't. The human body never had access to large amounts of carbohydrates in nature. Some would have you believe that we were gatherers and thrived on plants our whole existence. Well, can you imagine your current version of the human body surviving on plants? Well, we do it all the time. Well, no, you didn't. There were no succulent potatoes. There were no corn cobs with edible corn. There were no fruit stands all year long. There were no beans. We didn't eat beans. There wasn't pasta. There wasn't rice in big convenient bags to throw on boiling water. Nobody sat there in a rice paddy. Rice wasn't even around, but picked the individual kernels off a rice stalk or wheat. No one grabbed a little wheat thing. The best you could do is chew on a wheat stalk. The energy in these so-called plant foods that we ate wasn't much more than the energy it took to get it. The nutrition was so poor, just enough to keep us alive. So that's what our plant foods were, evolutionarily speaking. The plant foods kept us alive when animal sources of food were scarce. Yes, we are omnivores. That means we can eat both plants and animal products. It doesn't mean it's optimal. So cut out the processed foods completely. Okay? Adopt a heavy meat-based diet, mostly ruminant animals. Red meat, lamb, deer, bison, those are ruminant animals, multi-chambered stomachs. Much better nutrition profile. You can eat pork, chicken, that kind of stuff. Seafood's fantastic, but under very few to no, under no to very limited circumstances should you ever eat farm-raised anything that's seafood. So a heavy meat-based diet, 2 to 3 meals a day, no snacking. Just remember, any snack is considered a meal. You're re-spiking your insulin. And we don't want to re-spike that insulin. We want their insulin levels to come down and down and down. And you want to make sure you're always eating for your insulin, and you want to eat with the lowest insulin response possible. And a good surrogate marker for that is your blood sugar level. As blood sugar goes up, so too does insulin. So you want to lower your insulin, you have to lower your blood sugar. Blood sugar is driven mostly by carbohydrate consumption. So by extension, you want to lower your carbohydrate consumption. And you can argue with me all you want out there, but type 2 diabetes would almost be non-existent without carbohydrates, without the ingestion of carbohydrates. We are a 50% carbohydrate consuming society. And that should be lowered. That should be almost down to 10%, which is probably more historically accurate for our species. Let's go back to the plant-based theory. Okay, people get away with plant-based today because, again, we have the high energy starches. But what we didn't have were liquid oils back then, which is very energy dense. Can you imagine being around 50,000, 100,000, 300,000 years ago, and your diet actually being leafy greens, twigs, the sparse little paltry root starches with no olive oil or avocado oil or coconut oil to lather them down and to make them more energy dense? Okay, the no avocados. If there was anything like an avocado back then with high fat, it would have been available, a month or two out of the year. No sugary carby fruits back then. So realistically, where would the average human get 2,500 to 3,000 calories worth of energy? Because you're walking around all day looking for this stuff. You really think you want to know what 25, even 2,000 calories of non-oiled leafy greens and sparsely starched tubers looks like? You would have a stomach like a gorilla, because they're eating that crap all day long for it to ferment. We never had that kind of digestive system, period. Can't be done. Okay, what are you doing, sir? Anyways, plants plants are for plant eaters. We're not plant eaters.